Hello, like you mentioned, my name is Chris. I am the CEO of ElevateNet. We manage a lot of IT installations. We do fiber installations. We work with a lot of other companies that provide the actual fiber connection, being Charter, ACD, Lynx, and other individuals. I was asked basically to come here today, not necessarily to talk about me, so that's the goal, is to not talk about me, and more so to talk about what we're looking at for our downtown broadband development. A lot of people know that economic development kind of goes hand in hand with the broadband development. So as we can provide more for our local businesses and or residents, we can also receive more as far as our income and then thus our budgets for the city and everything else. So what has been proposed is the Traverse City Light and Power to actually manage their own and install their own fiber optic network for both businesses and residents within the downtown area. Most of the time, the most beneficial situation is a private company. I'll say, from my opinion, a private company managing all their own systems and then providing it and then doing all the customer services themselves. On the secondary, or if that doesn't always work so well, there's the partnership capability. So you could dealing with the local governments, dealing with what other assets they have, either an elevated asset or poles or whatever it may be, and then using that to leverage with the other local broadband service providers to try to make a marriage-ship. The last ditch effort, in my opinion again, would be to have the public entity kind of take over everything. In a lot of situations, we've seen that not being the best case scenario. There are a couple other deployments that have happened around the state. I know Coldwater, for example, Coldwater, Michigan has a deployment. If you look at their system, they do not provide anything better broadband-wise than, say, Charter, for example. Everything as far as their data speeds are more expensive. How long they might actually last, I can't necessarily say. I know there's a lot of other deployments that have gone out there that have basically died or have been handed over. And we know, without being too negative, we know what Traverse City Light and Power has done with our downtown Wi-Fi. That, as far as all my responses that I've gotten from everybody, doesn't work very well. And to take that and multiply that and push it even more, how that may work, I can't necessarily say. But we do know there's at least a good half a dozen private providers in the area that can provide fiber if a company actually wants fiber. So in my opinion, again, I would say as much as we can to either let the privates do what they need to do and or create that marriage-ship so Traverse City Light and Power does not retain that kind of complete ownership on all the poles, which would, if with a little bit more working together, that would allow us to have a better deployment overall. So again, like I said, this is not about me, so I was hoping to get some input either for what I said or against what I said, or any type of a thought on the process of broadband development, what we're looking at either downtown or other industrial parks, say on Hammond, for example, that might benefit us as far as an economy. So anybody.
How much is if a private business wants the fiber, how much would it be?
Say that again?
If a private business wants the fiber, how much would it be?
It depends on the provider. I know, for example, and this is gonna last for about 20 more days, depending on where you are in downtown Traverse City right now, I'm installing gigabit fiber connections for $1,200 a month. That's off of Charter systems. So for my clients, I'm pushing that out. I know ACD and Lynx and a handful of other people are doing other different deals. It's end of the year, so people are negotiable. There's a lot of different options, but Traverse City Light and Power also has not proposed how much things might actually cost. And we start looking at some deployments like that. They might say you get a 100 meg connection, or they might say you get a gigabit connection, but a lot of those situations, just like Charter does with their coax now, you're looking at a 30-to-1, 40-to-1, 50-to-1 ratio of what you actually end up getting if, say, everyone's pulling a gig at a time.
So you're the last mile. Charter's doing your backbone.
As far as my company, well, we do IT services and we do long-range wireless internet as well. So we use Charter and we use ACD. Well, we will as soon as they light up down here, and that's going to be quite soon. I know Lynx is in the area. One of our reps from Lynx was supposed to be here, but I think his child had basketball this afternoon. Yes?
So what could Traverse City do to facilitate private investment into a fiber optic network?
In my opinion, the best case scenario because one of the biggest detractors from providing an area is all the different costs that go into it. So right now, for example, Traverse City Light and Power owns all the poles we have down here. So if we had that Maryship where they allowed other providers either at a discounted rate or some type of a put all your stuff up there and give us 1% of your revenue, for example, then that would be a way to give a kickback back to the city so we as taxpayers see something out of that, as well as a way to provide the private companies the route to then explore other options for pushing data out elsewhere. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because in situations like this in other cities, there's generally been a franchise given to one provider.
Mm-hmm.
But what you seem to be proposing is something that would be quite different.
Yeah, do you mean like kind of how everybody says Charter has the monopoly in the whole area kind of thing?
Well, a lot of cable started that way.
Yes.
The city would give franchise to one cable operator.
Yep.
They didn't want 1,000 lines on their pole.
Exactly. And that, well, with a lot of the fiber deployments, you can put a single fiber trunk that could be holding 100 pairs. And you could put way more providers than even would be interested across 100 pairs. So one good size exterior grade fiber link would have the capability of hauling multiple different pieces. And if we say built into it that different wavelengths, for example, on that fiber would be the different carriers, then we could then provide a fiber pair out to a single residence or business, and the individuals then choose what service provider they want by the wavelength. Yes?
So I think jumping on the back, I'm not sure I heard the answer. Are there existing franchise restrictions for someone to come in that preclude somebody from doing what you just described?
In the downtown Traverse City area right now, we have, I know of at least a half a dozen fiber providers in the area, depending on what you want, where you are located. I had Tom with Connect Michigan actually came today to help with this conversation. Most of his life is pretty much surrounds around broadband development. Do you recall how many we have down in this area, for example?
Oh, there's probably half a dozen at least downtown.
Okay. Yeah.
In downtown area, as far as middle mile and back hall.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So the coax side, as far as like charter coax, when you're looking at TV and internet, things along those lines, that's where some of those restrictions come from. I think a lot of that is the TV portion as far as what they have built into their right-of-way agreements, et cetera, et cetera. So that would be kind of the wiggle room we'd be hoping to actually develop a little bit more option. But over fiber, we're not saying we're providing internet or we're providing TV or we're providing only phone. We can provide all of this because once we start going digital, we can do anything. We can pull IPTV from California if we wish. It's all subscriber based, so you have more options and choices. Yes?
What can we, as members of the community, do to lobby one way or another? Is there a public forum? Is this stuff brought to our attention beyond something like this? We're just kind of talking about it.
Yeah.
We have an opinion one way or another,
Mhm.
and we log that.
The ticker just put out basically this thought as far as what has been going on as far as Traverse City Light and Power's ideas. As far as I've gathered, they weren't entirely forthcoming on how they wanted this information to make it to the public. So I think Ticker kind of put that information out there, and now it's becoming more of a buzz piece for everybody in the community to talk about. I don't think they have a lot of their ideas on exactly what they're going to do nailed down. So I think keeping exactly what we're doing here, keeping that forum open and continuing that process. And if you have an idea or a thought on how you would like everything to move forward, obviously we have our own opinions on what we want to do.
But ultimately,
But-
they're going to kind of do whatever they want.
I mean, technically they work for us, right? So I think with enough education and enough people coming together and say, here's all of our different ideas and how we could proceed forward in a better manner, that would be our best option. Because simply saying, no, we don't like you, that never works in any situation. So, no, we don't like that, here's some alternate routes, would be the best case scenario. Yes?
Traverse City Light and Power is owned by the city. Therefore, the city commission is, if there's an elected official,
Mhm.
that is an access point to
Yes.
the city commissioner.
And unfortunately, their meeting is basically right now as well.
But what I'm saying is, if we were to get together and had a plan,
Yeah.
like we wanted an open discussion,
Mhm.
wanted a hearing, wanted a meeting, you need to be specific to go to them and say, we want X done. can't just go to them and say, we want something indiscriminate.
Yeah.
You just have to contact them and get on their agenda for their next meeting.
That, and I think we need to ask them for something, if indeed the group wants that.
Mhm. I would like to see multiple individuals or representatives from all the other private companies that offer it currently in the area at that meeting. And the potential for an open discussion about positives and negatives along that route, and the potential for then utilizing those polls that they hold that monopoly over. That would be if they're open to the conversation, I think they should be, since, like I said, they work for us, but that would be the best case for all of us moving forward. And Traverse City has obviously been on the map as far as growth. And I mean, people travel from all over the world to come to Traverse City because we're amazing, right? So if we continue that and we get to be beyond just the services and the amazing things that we do, so we can provide more data for more businesses and kind of grow as we go. Yes?
Do you have to be on the poles? Could you go underground?
I can't recall exactly how much it is, but the difference between boring versus pole use is extremely large.
assume
Yeah.
that, get around.
But then you have to deal with your more right-of-way issues, all the different private lands. There's all kinds of more issues that come about, and things get way more astronomically expensive. And really, when it comes down to it, if we as a community want these things to come to us, we need to make it easy.
So is TCLP then getting in the way of private operators putting their lines on the poles and then doing it to exclude them and then have their own?
In my opinion, yes. Okay, and I
That's where
preface
monopoly
everything.
comes from.
I preface everything in saying, in my opinion.
And
So
and their incentive for providing the service is what? Meaning TCLPs.
that's pretty much the question. They say now, and they say it's going to generate a bunch of revenue. They say it's going to do this. They say it's going to do that. It's going to be beneficial for everybody and all those types of things. But again, then when you create that automatic monopoly, and then I'm not big on governments running everything, but the FCC has decided that the internet is a utility and offering that is a utility, so they have the right to then propose to the community to offer that as a utility if they wish to do so. But then by doing that, they exclude all the other competition. So in my opinion, that's negative for us overall.